Let's see. Yeah, I think I'm finally freaking business. Welcome to Tucson, Arizona. I'm Randy. Man, setting up a live stream was very new for me as of just today. Figuring this stuff out, just one step at a time. Ugh. Celebrating 1 year. 1 year on the YouTubes. Let's move this back over here. And then let's do, I guess that. And then we'll do this number over here. What the hell is going on? There we go. Okay. Let's go. Man, I have so many things open. Not sure where to put all of this. I guess I can move this back over here. Cool. I go camera with screen. Desktop audio with any luck. This is working. Again, I'm a bit of a numpty. Lock volume. Oh, should be working. Should be able to hear this. This is in Colorado. Trying to go through and upload some video from my trip. Running the Creighton 6S. At a rest stop in Colorado, the Rocky Mountains. The No J took a big tumble over here. So here we do a drag race here in a second. I'll have to edit this part down for a short. Where was? Oh, he was walking up the grass. Boo! Boo! Oh, I love it. So good. Listen to these tires. My front tires hit. So good. BL2S is pretty freaking quick. Little one-wheeler peeler. Uh-oh. There we go. What the hell? Not receiving enough video. What the hell's going on here? Contains smooth streaming. What? Aw, man, buffering? Buffering, what the hell? There's something wrong with my... Let's see what my settings have going on here. Output. Yeah, I mean, I'm not calling for... Well, that's a bummer. What the hell's going on over YouTube? Let me see. Move my chat back over here. What's going on? Nope. Where are you? Oh, what was the name of that? Let's see. Let's see what's happening here. Hey, what the hell's going on with my Wi-Fi? Well, that's no wonder. Strength is good. God, man. Cox sucks. It's like my speed sucks. Test again. It's supposed to have badass service. My internet sucks. And then it just got better through that test. I don't understand. And the only thing demanding Wi-Fi let's try this one. No, I don't want to go through all this crap. Okay. Cox Phoenix. See, but I'm in Tucson. Huh. Weird. All right. I guess I'm testing for Phoenix speeds. Jitter. I don't know what the hell jitter means. See, and then this one's showing my stuff sucks even more. No one's going to watch my channel with crappy internet. This is bullshit. This is not okay. I'm not happy about this. Now, what the hell did I do my math for? Some bullshit. Gonna make me look like a fool. Let's see. Settings. Output. Let's go. Apply. Okay. Now it's probably gonna piss off my select a stream. Streaming. Let's see. Did that fix anything? This is bullshit. My internet sucks. And I'm not happy about it because I pay a lot to have the really fast internet. I think I just need to get the Starlink. Get dedicated, awesome service. This is stupid. Well, go back to this. Make me feel better. Let's see. Okay, I'm done with that video. Let's go back into photos. Make it big. Guess I can come back over here. I'll move you. How do I move you? There we go. Camera with screen. Let's see. Tour. Gotta edit all this. Gotta edit down all this fun jazz. Let's turn the volume way down. This is Lucas Hatton. The giant from Clash of Clans. Hell yeah. Well, Lucas Hatton. So proud of him. So happy for him. Then we got Trey. Hope all this audio is being picked up. What the hell, man? Again? Open Studio. Lag. This sucks. This is stupid. Every time. What the hell, man? Jeez, what the fuck? This is some bullshit. Not happy about this. Stream health. Poor. Now it's healthy. So it goes back and forth. I don't know. I don't know what the hell. Seems like every time I try to watch videos, which is weird because it's not on the internet. This is stupid. Let's bring that up to the big screen. Move this over here. I don't know. Hopefully my thing stays alive and stops doing stupid buffering because this is making me sad. But 1 year here trying to celebrate a whole year on YouTube, someplace I thought about being for a very long time and just never committed to until a little over a year ago. Decided that I was done worrying. I was done being nervous about what other people would say. I just wanted to do my thing. Speaking of, at some point, been trying to fix a bunch of my RCs, but I wanted to take a break from doing that and upload videos and maybe even start editing. But it seems like every time I try to stream extra video, everything goes to hell. Like, my internet just can't support it. Just stupid. So I wonder if it'll support, let's close this, if it'll support just this. Because I'm not doing any other video, just have an article. Let's see. This will fit over here. Do that. That way if something comes up, I can see it. Even though currently I don't have any viewers, which is kind of sad. Come on, man. I'm celebrating a year. But I just came back from Strongest Man on Earth, the Shaw Classic. I go every year. This was year number 4. And it was so good. It gets better every year. So this year, 2025, Strongest Man on Earth, good old Loveland, Colorado, from August 16th through 17th, as the main event of the Shaw Classic. Contest featured 16 strong men, kind of, representing 5 countries, competing through 8 events: the max log, the carry and hoist, the keg toss, the manhood stones, the trap bar deadlift, the super yoke, the chest press, and the carry and power stair medley. God, it was so freaking good. So, we'll skip all the, I don't know why they put the standings at the very top. Should have to scroll down for that. So, below are the results for each event contested in Loveland. So the max log. So the athletes established their max log press. Lucas Hatton, if you've suffered through what is probably choppy video, you just saw Lucas. I gave him a 3D print of Giant. Did 223 kilo overhead log press. Trey Mitchell, 220. Thomas Evans, 206. Tom Stoltman, 205. I'm kind of surprised. I mean, now, because I'm a fan of the sport and I've been following it, and Stoltman came out with a pretty good video discussing what was going on with him, because I definitely expected higher than 205 out of him for the log. His brother is one of the best overhead pressers to ever do it. Now, I'm biased because I'm a huge fan. I think Luke Stoltman, he's a flawed man, as is coming out as of late, the last couple of months, having an affair and all that. Really dings him. I actually talked about that in a previous video. If you go back and watch some of my other stuff where I talk about strongman. But still, one of my all-time favorites ever to do it. Even though he's only ever done, is the best he's ever done a 7th at Worlds. Still, though, ranked 7th in the world. Come on, that's pretty damn big. May not have won, but he sure won a lot of events. Scotland's Strongest Man tons of times. I think he was Britain's Strongest Man, and I'm not sure if he was ever Europe's Strongest Man, but the dude had the biggest shoulders on the planet there for a little while. He held the log press record for a minute. But to have your older brother, the guy that trains with you all the time and helps you develop and really got you into the sport, was the king of the log. He's known as the Highland Oak because, he's just a huge freaking person, but he was the king of the log press. So when you got that guy in your corner teaching you how to develop your press, to only hit 205. Granted, that's 410, 414 pounds or something like that. Like, that's heavy. It's significant. That's no small feat. I'm not trying to take away from any of these men. They're all just massive humans, but 205 for Tom was small. And then you see the damage he had on his arm the entire weekend. It's his fault, and he says that he's not using it as an excuse. He even hit it. But while this was happening, I mean, I've got video of this, and while it was and really good seats, and I was shocked, but that he could only do 205. That definitely hurt him because I figured he'd be up here above Tom Evans. I figured Trey would have won this event. I mean, Luke doesn't necessarily surprise me because, I mean, he's a static freaking beast. But these two were in hot contention for quite a while over several events because they're very similar, like, builds. They're equally designed for the same types of lifts, just static freaking power. But I thought Tom Stoltman would have taken third in this behind these two men. Thomas Evans came out and just did his damn thing, which was awesome to see. It's really been awesome to watch his career. Andre Foytu, 202, tied for fifth with Austin Andrade. Again, two men who are similar builds. But Austin is also built like these guys. He's not super tall because Lucas Hatton isn't super tall. I think he's only 6 foot. Maybe 6'1". Trey Mitchell, I think, is like 6'2". Thomas Evans, like around the 6'2", 6'3" mark. And then Tom Stoltman's a freaking Goliath. Andre Foytu, not super tall. Austin, not super tall. They're both right around like 6 to 6'2", somewhere in there. But 202, I mean, that's big. What's that, 406 pounds? Frick, man. YouTube just not liking anything I'm doing today. This is stupid. Open Studio. Bummer. Let's just go camera. Damn it. All right, so I'll just keep reading this off then, since apparently nothing is happy that I'm doing any of this. Come on, get healthy. Poor. The health is poor. Oh, well. Now it's excellent. So apparently I can't do anything else, or my internet hampers me. God, this sucks. So, Austin Andrade and Andre Foytu tied for fifth. Evan Singleton, 200 kilos. That's kind of surprising. I thought that he might be pressing a little higher, but good on him. Nick Guardione, 195 kilos, tied for eighth with Josh Spurgeon, equally at 195. Bobby Thompson at 193. This was the sign that there was something wrong with Bobby. Now, I've been to Shaw 4 times. The first year, there wasn't an open, and you didn't really get to meet anybody. No meet and greets, nothing like that. So, but it was... I've only missed one Shaw that was open to the public, and my friends got to go. So, they bragged that they got to go, and they got to meet people that I didn't get to meet, because Zydrunas Savickas was at the first one, and they got to meet him. He was at the first one I went to, but I didn't get to meet him, so I'm very sad because the dude doesn't really do much of this anymore. He's pretty well retired. So Bobby Thompson, the first year that I went, collapsed doing a log. And he went to do, I think it was the highest log, which was... How heavy was that log? Was it a 600-pound log? Close to it. 550. Like, it was a freaking beast of a log. And they had a log ladder the first year. And I should pull this up, but I'm not going to, because I have it on video. But he went to do the heaviest log, whatever that weight was, and I think he he was pulling it into the clean and then got lightheaded, dropped it, and fell and passed out. And there's nothing I can do. I don't want to stop streaming. So he collapsed a few years ago. And then I think last year he did pretty good, and I got to meet him last year and spend time with him. And I have a couple minutes worth of the video from one of the times I got to talk to him. I did get to spend quite a bit of time with him throughout the weekend, but I've only uploaded one video of our time at the first Shaw, but only for a minute, long enough to take a picture and for him to sign my hat. Last year I got to spend quite a bit of time with him, and super generous with his time, very fun to just chit chat with, because I mean, with most of these guys I don't really talk about strongman, I just kind of BS. And this is annoying the hell out of me. Why is my health for my stream dropping off still? Is not receiving. Alright, let me get back up here. It's not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming as such user experience buffering. Yep, because my internet sucks today, I guess. Freaking stupid. Well, if you're watching this in the future, I'm sorry. So got to spend time with him last year, and I think generally he did okay last year. He felt better, his health was better. He even talked about that. He was on a better diet. He was just overall in just doing a better program. And then this year did 193, which for a dude who held the record for a while is sad. The last 4 years that I've been watching him compete, in person, his pressing has been dropping off. Last year he lost a ton of weight, and I think that's what hurt him. He lost too much too fast. So this year I talked to him. He said he was in great spirits. He's in great health. He was ready to rock. My cameraman kept flaking out on me, so half of the stuff I wanted on video isn't on video. But when I 3D printed him a garden gnome, last year I took the guys a bunch of Lego strongmen. And a few minutes ago I was looking at those videos, and Trey was like, yeah, that's in my trophy case in my room. So I gave him a garden gnome. So I printed up all these garden gnomes. Well, I know that Bobby Thompson is a huge fan of Stitch, and he wears these gym shorts that down the right leg is a pattern of Stitch going down the side. He's had them forever, but he wears them all the time. So I gave him a Stitch blue garden gnome, and I was like, hey man, last year I gave you the Lego. And he's like, hey, I remember you. I was like, so I got something new for you this year. I was like, and I know you're a huge Stitch guy, so I even did it in Stitch blue. And he goes, yeah, man, look. And he was wearing his shorts. And so then I gave it to him, and he got so happy. He's like, thanks for this, man. He goes, give me a hug, and wrapped me up in a giant hug. And, wow. Hold on a second. Hello? Oh. I missed it. Let's see. Anything? Was sorry. So I gave him the garden gnome, and he was like, dude, give me a hug. And he wrapped me up in a big hug. Thanked me for just being aware and knowing what he's into and stuff. And I was like, yeah, dude, of course. I'm a fan. So the rest of the time I saw him standing out there hanging out with people, he was holding it. He didn't put it in his pocket, didn't put it in his backpack, he didn't have his buddy hold it because he had a friend there with him, and I BS with him for a little while. But now he held it. And actually the next couple of the people who were standing there when I gave it to him, because I wasn't trying to take up any of his time. He was standing there he happened to be standing next to me. So I was like, oh, hey, perfect. And a couple of people started talking to him. So I stood there patiently waiting for like 20 minutes to give him this. And a whole big line started forming like off to the side of where I was. So he just kept meeting people. And then finally his buddy was like, stop some people. He's like, hey man, this guy's been waiting here for a really long time. And they were like, yeah, no, sorry, go ahead. So I go over and I was like, hey brother. And so I gave him that, gave me a big old hug. And I didn't need anything else from him. I think I had him sign. Yeah, Bobby's handwriting's all goofy. But yeah, I had him sign the hat because every year I take a hat and I get it autographed. And this has got like 30, I think around 30 autographs on it. This is my third hat. So I have him sign the hat real quick, I think. And then, like, because he signed my banners last year and he signed my other hat last year, and some trading cards that Brian Shaw gets printed up every year for the competition. So, that's it. So that I give him that, but then the next couple of people in line wanted to take a picture with him with that. Like they wanted him to hold it up and be in the picture. So that was really cool. And then walking by saying, every time I'd see him, he's holding it, made me happy. Like I'm glad he liked it. So later on in the weekend, so I think that was that Saturday? I don't remember if it might have been Friday. So Saturday or Sunday, I don't remember what day now. I guess it was Sunday because Saturday. So I've been waiting to see Evan Singleton. So Evan Singleton, I'm a big fan of, the T-Rex. And I never used to be. He was actually a guy, I've got video within the last year. I think I did a video right before we went to Shaw. It was like one of my very first videos on here. The quality is going to suck worse than this live stream. I had a crappy camera, crappy computer. I had the same mixing board and mics, but everything else sucked. So my buddy Nick actually asked me if there was anyone I didn't like, and I mentioned him by name. I'm like, yeah, man, Evan Singleton, he's kind of a dick. I'm not a fan. So now I've gotten to know him a little bit, and I've talked to him a few times, and he's been like, he surprised me. So when I went to Shaw immediately after, like within like 2 weeks of saying how much I think he's a dick, I met him. I'm walking around the expo. It was the first year of the expo, and he's walking with his chick. And I see him, and no one's around. No one's talking to him. No one's bothering him. Nothing. And I said, screw it. I'm going to go talk to him. So I go talk to him, and he was super friendly. Like, couldn't have been a nicer guy. And then, so I hung out with him for like, I don't know, like 10 minutes, just shooting the breeze. Super nice guy. I was like, all right. Like, his big persona. And then he did an interview with Brian Shaw about a year ago. And he opens up about like emotions and feelings and his inadequacy, like his feeling of inadequacy and everything. I was like, man, I relate to that. Like, cool. It's just down to earth guy. So last year I gave him a Lego man along with a bunch of the other dudes. I think I like gave out like 12 or 13 of these things. And at the time I was still a huge Mitchell Hooper fan. So I go to Singleton, give him that. And I actually do it. There's a short on my channel of me giving him his Lego. And like, again, couldn't be nicer. And then I hung out with him much later, and he couldn't be a nicer guy. So this year I was really excited when I was printing things up for these guys. I found a garden gnome that's wearing a giant T-Rex suit. So he's a giant, it was big. It was a big T-Rex garden gnome. And that was the one I was most excited about because I knew Evan would love it. Evan's become such a nice, like he's such a nice guy. I've really turned around and become a huge fan, and I really wanted to give him this. And then he didn't show up at the expo Friday. As far as I could tell, he wasn't at the expo Saturday. So then Sunday, nothing. So I'm like, damn, he's the only guy. And every year there's like a ton of Europeans and stuff that don't go to the expo. So I don't expect people who aren't from America to be at the expo. Shane Flowers, who I've wanted to meet from day one because I've been following that dude's career for a couple of years now. Big British guy, like capable. Didn't expect to see him, and then I did. And he was a sweetheart of a guy, as all these dudes have become. Like, as I get to know them and spend any kind of time with them, they're just really sweet dudes. Like, half of them seem taken aback by people wanting their, like, pictures and autographs. It's like they don't, like, it doesn't make sense to them. Like, they woke up and go every day and go, is this real life? Is this my life? This can't be real life. So it seems surreal, and they all seem to appreciate it and accept it with like love and grace. So it's been really cool. So I got to meet Shane Flowers too, but no Evan Singleton, which was surprising the hell out of me. So Sunday we're sitting there and Bobby comes over, Bobby Thompson, who at this point has passed out 3 times during different events. Like the dude just like starts seizing on the ground. So we're very worried about him. So he finally withdraws from the competition. So he comes out and he's standing right next to us. So I lean over to Bobby and I'm like, "Hey Bobby, you know, where's your gnome?" He's like, "Oh man, it's back at the room. You know, my daughter, she's gonna have to have that in one piece." And I was like, "All right." I was like, "Hey, you want to see Evans?" And I pulled Evans's out. And he's like, "Man, that's so cool." And he's like, "Hey, do you want me to take a video? And I'll show it to him, so like he knows where it came from." I was like, "Cool." So I do a little video, and he was like, no, he goes, "Either you can stay out here and take your chances of getting his attention and giving it to him, or I can take it back there to him for you, and you know he gets it." And I was like, "Man, I wish I could give it to him, but he didn't come out at all to the expo. Yeah, please take it to him." And he was like, "All right, now knowing that, do you want to do another video?" I was like, "Sure." So Bobby holds up his phone. I record a video. "Hey, I'm Randy. You know, big fan. I gave you that Lego guy last year. I want you to have this. I'm sorry I couldn't get to see you this year. I'm rooting for you. You know, we love you. I hope you like this." So then Bobby takes that and disappears. And we asked Bobby how he's doing. He's like, "Man, I got some heart issues. I got to get him checked out. I got to get it taken care of." So Bobby takes my thing. So I never got to see Evan, but I'm definitely taking credit for his win now because I gave him the good juju in my garden gnome to win, and I couldn't be happier for him. So happy that he won the Shaw. So then we see Bobby retired. So Monday, I get on Instagram and I see that Bobby retired. So I'm sad that he's retiring, but it's definitely for the best because that dude, I've now watched him drop 4 times minimum. I don't remember if he did last year, but yeah, I've watched that dude hurt himself for the sport, and it's for the best that he starts taking care of his health. So really sad for him. And then while hanging out, while we were leaving Saturday night from the show, we're walking out to the parking lot, and I hear a couple of guys talking, and they're talking about Mitchell Hooper and his comments on Luke Stoltman. So I, jump into the conversation because they're talking about Mitchell Hooper running his mouth while he's having an affair and hadn't been caught yet. He's running his mouth talking shit about Luke Stoltman for having an affair, and he was slinging arrows online and stuff. And so I jumped in, on the conversation, and these guys were huge Mitchell Hooper, like, super fans. And I was a fan, and the guy, I've said this on my channel too, like, I was like, man, there's nothing that dude could do to make me not be a fan of him anymore, because he'd made some very special videos for my son, and without me asking him to. I mentioned, how my son looks up to him, and then he took my phone, made a video for him. And then the next year I thanked him. I was like, "Hey man, it meant a lot." He goes, "Well, let's do another one." So the first 2 years that I met him, So the first like full calendar year, he'd just hit the big scene. When he first hit the big scene that first year, he was like the nicest, most genuine, lift heavy, be kind guy that there is. And then the following Shaw, a year later, he still had a lot of that, but it seemed a little tarnished. And this year, he just felt like a different person. He felt disingenuous, like I'm not sure why he was there. He pulled out because of his injuries and stuff. Like, now clearly, like, I'm sure he's injured. I've got no doubt. Like, every strong man gets injured. Everyone lifting heavy shit gets injured. But to pull out and ignore the fact that you got caught up in a scandal and that you were calling someone else out for the same shit. Like, while he was talking shit about Luke online, he was actively having an affair. And then he ignores all that. So I don't even know why he still showed up other than to sell things to people. Like, I think he was just selling his swag and then, like, getting a chance to, like, meet and greet or whatever. But the meet and greet felt different. Like, I went over because last year I forgot to take these with me to have him sign them. And what really sucks is last year. So the first 2 years he didn't have banners. He had t-shirts. So I guess it's the first year, sorry. So the first year he had t-shirts, which we bought t-shirts. And I had him sign a shirt that was a limited, like he only had it for a little while. I had him sign that shirt so I don't wear it. Signed my hat. Last year he signed my hat. And then this year I had him sign my hat and I had him sign the flags. Well, last year, because the first year he didn't have his own flags last year. Or 2 years ago. The first year he didn't have his own flags. So last year he did, and I bought one. But I didn't have him sign it yet. And I didn't circle back to his booth, and he wasn't there because he was competing, so he didn't come back after I bought the flag. So for a year, I have had a flag just like these, but it's all white. And what's it say? I think it says Team Moose real big on it, and then it's got the Moose logo or whatever. So I've had it. It's still in the cellophane for a year. And then he gets caught up in his nonsense, and I still have this flag that needs to be signed because it's his. And someday these are going to belong to my kids. So I'm like, well, do I go meet with them? Like, he did win World's Strongest Man. He did win the strongest man on earth. Like, do I have him sign this stuff? Even though, like, he's tainted and he's been a dick about it all and he's, like, disingenuous as hell. Like, yeah, so I still had him sign it. So I had him sign his flag. I had him sign these flags, and I had him sign my hat. So I'm like, I have to. Like, he did win World's Strongest Man. So these flags now have, I think I counted 5 World's Strongest Men. So there's Hooper. There's Brian Shaw. So it's 2. There's Tom Stoltman down here. So that's 3. There's Alexei Novikov. That's 4. And then Hafthor Bjornsson, the Mountain. That's 5. So I have 5 World's Strongest Men on these 2 banners. Now, sadly, because the coolest things happen at Shaw Classic, this year I set all my stuff. I was carrying all my stuff in a backpack. If you watched the earlier part of this video, you saw the backpack. So it's a Shaw Classic athlete's bag. So I had all 3 of my flags in that, along with like all of the gifts that I was giving all the guys, and then my GoPro and batteries and stuff. Well, I set that stuff down in the truck so we could eat lunch, and then we were going inside to watch the arm wrestling that was happening inside, and then to watch, I think, Laws and Liz talk. And I left my backpack. So I'm like, I don't need the backpack. We're not buying anything. I don't need to carry anything. And then as we're walking up, I audibly gasp. I was like, and there's Magnus for Magnuson, 4-time world's strongest man, Magnus for Magnuson. And I don't have my flags. So I have my hat and I have a Sharpie in my pocket. So Magnus for Magnuson is on this hat, along with Eddie Hall, Brian Shaw, let's see, and then Mitchell Hooper. So this hat has 4 World's Strongest Man title holders on this hat. But because I got Eddie Hall's signature in such a fast way, which I made a YouTube short on, where I have his plunger right here. So that's the Eddie Hall plunger. But again, when I met him, we were going to go get food. So I left all my stuff in the truck, my GoPro, my bag with flags, everything in the truck. And I walk up to the building and there's Eddie Hall making his video that I recorded. And then he starts walking and a guy goes, "Hey Eddie, can I get a picture?" And he goes like, "Yeah, man, walk with me." And so I start running with him and I was like, "Eddie, can you sign my hat?" And I held my hat out with my silver Sharpie. And I was like, "Can you sign my hat?" And he goes, "Yeah, man, hold this," and hands me the plunger. And then he takes this while we're walking, signs this, and a dude was recording this as it was happening. But I got so freaked out, and I'm in the moment. I'm like, I need that video. So he signs this. I put my hat back on my head. I hand him back his plunger. And I was like, "Thank you so much, man." And he goes, "Absolutely." He goes, "Here, man, you know what?" And he signs the plunger and hands it to me. And he goes, "That's going to go viral soon." And I was like, "Thanks, man." He goes, "Yeah, man, cheers." And then he walks in the venue. And then I turn around and walk back to where my wife is. Instead of turning and going, "Bro, send me that video," I was so amped because I've met Eddie once. And I didn't want to bother him because he clearly wasn't like trying to talk to nobody. So I didn't get his autograph. I didn't get a picture, but I do have a short section of video on my GoPro that I walk over by him and I was like, "Hey brother, you're the reason I'm a fan of this sport." And then like fist bump him and he was like, "Cheers, mate, thanks," or whatever he said. He said, "Thanks a lot, it means a lot," whatever he said. And he fist bumps me and then I keep it moving because he was clearly trying not to be in the mix. He was there for Brian Shaw's retirement. So it's the only thing I've got, the only time I've gotten Eddie's autograph from Eddie. But he's not on my flags, because if I'd had my flags, I'd have been like, "Bro, can you sign this? Can you sign this? Can you sign that?" And he would have done it in a hurry. So I don't have Eddie on here yet, but at some point I will get Eddie on here. Hopefully he gets Eddie to come back to do arm wrestling or something again next year, so that I can somehow slyly get him on these and increase this to 6 World's Strongest Man title holders. Or hopefully next year someone wins and goes to the Strongest Man on Earth. But yeah, so on this, if you've ever watched Strongest Man in History, that's Brian Shaw, right down here, Eddie Hall, right up here, Nick Best, with this crazy chicken scratch right there, and then Robert Oberst right there. So all 4 guys from that show are on this hat. And then with the exception of Evan Singleton, I think I've got every other guy that competed this year on this hat. Because at one point I'm talking to, I don't remember who I was talking to. I was kind of walking and talking to somebody, and then I turn around and there's Wesley Dewinski, Tristan Hoth, Andre Foytu, and Eddie Williams walking together in a row looking at things. So I turned around, I was like, "Oh dang." And I went up to Wes Dewinski and I was like, "Bro, can you sign my hat real quick? And he goes, absolutely. Signs it. And I was like, can you just hand it down the row? And he goes, of course. And he turns to Tristan Hoth. And so there's Tristan Hoth's autograph on the flag over there. And then Wes Dewinski. It's Lucas Hatton. Here's Wesley Dewinski down here. Tristan Hoth there. And then he hands it off to Andre Foytu. Nick Guardione. Some of these I'm not as familiar with their autographs. Andre Foytu's on here because I asked him later, like, hey man, can you sign this? He goes, sure. Could be that one. And then he hands it off to Eddie Williams, and then Eddie Williams signed the hat. So that was cool. I got 4 in one go. And then a little while, and I got video of them golfing, doing the virtual golfing. And then I walk over and I asked Bobby to sign it when I gave him his thing. And then later I'm walking by and I got to meet Shane Flowers. So there's Shane Flowers. And what's really cool, like, it's pretty creative when he signs things. So he writes Shane and then he draws a flower and then does an apostrophe S. So that's pretty cool. I think that's Tristan Hoth. I have no idea whose autograph that one is. It's kind of crazy. Lucas Hatton, America's Strongest Man twice. There's Lawrence Big Laws, Lawrence Chalet, his wife Auntie Liz. Nick Guardione, Tom Stoltman, right here, with the ×3. The hell sent it up here. Starts with a T. Not sure who that one is. Wes Dewinski. Not sure whose crazy chicken scratch that is. Trey Mitchell. There's Bobby. There on the side. Nick Best. Shane Flowers. Not sure whose that is either. Got a T in it, looks like. And then I finally got to meet Travis Ortmeyer. And he's got a really nice autograph. That's him right here. Probably got my boom in the way. Signed on the flag. He's got a very nice penmanship. Yeah. Ton of other ones on here. But as I think about it, I kind of want to go back to that list now. Let's see. Close that. So let's see. Lucas Hatton. Yep. On here and on these. I met him last year. Trey Mitchell. Met him several times now. He's on everything. Thomas Evans. Met him several times. He's on everything. And his is one of these crazy loop, just scratch. I think he might be on the far side of both of these. But his is just kind of a crazy scratch. Like a bunch of lines. Like a heartbeat, like a heart monitor. It's Thomas Evans. Tom Stoltman. He's on everything, including the hat. Andre Foytu. I know I had him sign. He was one of the 4 guys that signed the hat, but then I came back through and had him sign the flags. Austin Andrade signed everything for me, and him and Nick Guardione did a really fun video for me. Evan Singleton is not on this hat, which sucks, but he's on 2 others. And the T-Rex, he is on both flags. And he writes T-Rex. Nick Guardione's on here. Josh Spurgeon. I know he signed my hat. Crap, I don't know if I've got him on the flags. Because when I ran into him... Yeah, that's him right there. Josh Spurgeon. So he did... Yeah, I did have him signed. That's him right there. Bobby Thompson. He signed these last year. And he signed my hat this year. Maxime Boudreau. I don't remember if I had him sign these. I had him sign my hat last year. There's Matt Rag, Bobby, Alexei Novikov. Oh, damn, maybe it's 6. So I've got Tom Stoltman, Brian Shaw, Mitchell Hooper, Alexei Novikov, Hafthor Bjornsson. Was it just the 5? Oh, yeah, no, I did have Max sign it last year. Max and Sam side by side. Okay, but Max, even though I ran into him this year, he seemed like he had an attitude this year, so I didn't have him sign my hat. So that's 2 guys from this year not on this hat. But I've met them both before, and they're both already on here. Shane Flowers, met him, and he did sign. See, Shane Flowers there with the flower, and then down here at the bottom of this other one. And on my hat, Bryce Johnson. He's another one that's got a crazy, like just illegible signature. I don't know which one it is because I couldn't read it. Oh, I think it's that one down there. I think you can kind of tell that there's a J. Bobby. Wes Dewinski. Nick Guardione. I think that's Austin Andrade. Matt Rag. I think he's up there in the corner. Yeah, crazy handwriting. So yeah, he's on the hat and he's on both flags. Tristan Hoth, he got on the flags last year and he got on the hat this year. Wes Dewinski got on the flags last year, got on the hat this year. Eddie Williams signed all 3 this year. So, yeah, I have met every guy this year, which is, I think, the first time. Like, even last year, I think last year I met everybody, but very briefly. And I did get pretty much all of them to sign this, if I remember right. Because there was Alexei, Matt Rag, Kevin Ferris, Lucas Hatton. There might have been a couple of Europeans that snuck out without signing these. But such is life. But I think this is the first time I've been to one of these where I actually got to spend time with every athlete. And that was pretty sweet. So, yeah. Yeah, Shaw Classic. Super awesome. Tons of fun. If you can go, I highly recommend going. Yeah. This year, Bobby Thompson dropped out with 14.5 points, so he's in 16th place. Shane Flowers dropped out with 21 points. Max Boudreau, who I've given a ride to, 58 points. Josh Spurgeon, 58.5, and he won the Open last year, so came in at 13th. But he had a few events that he did really well in. Nick Guardione was 60.5 points, and he did pretty good on a few. Eddie Williams, 62 points. Andre Foytu, 63.5. Wesley Derwinski, 64.5. And Wesley did some damage in a few of these events. Won the weight over bar, and did pretty good in some others. Tom Stoltman, 72.5 points. Tristan Hoth tied with 72.5 points, and Tristan crushed a few events too. Trey Mitchell, 82.5 points, so big jump there. Bryce Johnson, 82.5 points. That dude's like Brian Shaw size, a little lighter, well, quite a bit lighter. Austin Andrade, 83.5 points. So another big jump in points there. Thomas Evans, 88 points. So quite a few, sorry, Austin and Bryce were only separated by a point. Sorry, that wasn't a big jump. But Austin to Tom Evans, 83.5 points to 88 points. That's pretty big. And I was there when Thomas Evans won the Open in 22. He won the Open for my very first Shaw Classic, so that was really cool. To see him go from the winner of the Open and climb his way up through the ranks and then hit the podium just a few years later, like that's pretty wicked. Lucas Hatton, watched him last year come in at third. I had no idea who he was. He was unknown to me until he started competing. Now I watch his YouTube channel all the time. I love that sit down and just talk about strongman, and the dude just knows his stuff. He's been doing this for I think like 10 or 12 years. He's still pretty young, but 92.5 points for second place. So seeing him go from third place to second place was super awesome. And he was out there hanging out with everybody for a long time. That was really cool. And then Evan Singleton, 1 point ahead, 93.5 points. And that was cool because I've known for 4 years that this dude could win anything. He could win World's Strongest Man. He could win Strongest Man on Earth. He could win Giants Live. He could win the Arnold Classic. He's got the ability. He's got the strength. He's got the size. He's a pretty well-rounded athlete. And this year he finally did it. Like, he finally put all the pieces together. And sadly, I think that's why he was not coming out and hanging out in the Open. I think he was trying to stay hyper-focused on the mission and not let anything take away from the mission. I think he was in his own head a lot, and I think that he didn't want anything disturbing that, which, I mean, fair enough. You're there to win. He's been there to win every year, and something happens every year, and I've rooted for him almost every year. I wanted Brian to win every time I was there. I wanted Brian to win, and it was a thing of beauty to be there for Brian's retirement show and to see him win and to cry when he gave his speech. Like, that was all awesome. I have all that on video. I've never released it because it was kind of like when I started the channel. I mean, I recorded that a year before I decided to do the channel, like commit to it, but I wasn't sure if anything would get flagged. So I'm still trying to learn all those rules, and like I'm still learning how to do certain things. Hell, I spent like an hour and a half today trying to learn how to do a live. So I've done one live, and then I was like, you know what? It's my channel's birthday. I'll do another one, and then my internet sucks. And I've got no one here watching with me, so I'm just talking to myself, but I'm used to that. So yeah, a year. Pretty freaking exciting. To anyone who's made it through all of this, thank you. Thank you for subscribing to me, for whatever your reasons are, whether it be RC stuff, whether it be strongman stuff, whether it be because you hate me and you like to watch me simply out of spite, or because you think I'm awesome and you watch me because I'm awesome, or you don't watch me at all and you've just subscribed just to give me a sub. I appreciate all of it, and I'm grateful for all of it. Like, I'm grateful for the opportunity, and I love that I can now do lives. Like, having enough subs to do lives is big. All weekend on my drive, because we traveled all over the place in the last week, all over Arizona, hauled ass through New Mexico because I'm not a big fan of New Mexico. Up one side of Colorado and down the other. A little bit, up into South Dakota throughout Mount Rushmore and all that. And then throughout a little bit of southern Wyoming, and then all through Utah. Like, love driving through Utah, going back through Moab and everything. I got some more videos on that I got to edit. I have so much content I still have to edit. Editing sucks. Lives are cooler. I'd much rather be able to sit here and go live all the time. And hopefully one day I'll get live viewers while I'm live. I really like that. I like to go back and forth with people, chit chat, get in the chat and see what's up. So, but anyways, I know I've talked about mostly strongman because that's what's on my mind. It's what I just got back from doing. I spent a lot of freaking money doing strongman stuff. Got to hang out with Jerry Pritchett, the Iron Outlaw from Phoenix. Always good to see that guy and BS with him and talk about mutual friends and stuff. And different implements to be training with and different events and the growth of the sport and all that. If you've never seen it, just look out for it. I mean, I'm sure you've heard of The Mountain. You know, everyone's seen Game of Thrones, and so everyone knows The Mountain from that. And I know he's brought a lot of eyes to the sport. And then Eddie Hall, I know he's brought a lot of people to the sport. I grew up watching it, but Eddie Hall is the reason I really started focusing and like learning about the athletes and learning about the events, because Eddie Hall made it fun. The dude was a big personality. Him and Robert Oberst, the two of them, they're big personalities. I knew who Brian Shaw was. I knew who Zydrunas Savickas was. I knew who Magnus for Magnuson were. Like, I knew who like the Mount Rushmore guys were, but like John Paul, like I knew a handful of names, and I didn't like follow everyone else. You know, like I didn't follow Jerry Pritchett and Big Laws until later in their careers, because I started following other people, and I'm like, oh, okay. Like I knew who Mark Henry was. Like I knew names and who they were and why I should know them. But it was like with Eddie Hall, made me like hyper focused on learning stats, years that guys won, watching the battles, like watching all that stuff, his attitude and Robert Oberst's attitude, like watching Obi take a beer and start drinking a beer while someone else was trying to do a lift. That was, oh, come on. That was cool. That was the type of stuff that got me like hooked on the sport. So again, Strongman, if you've never watched it, if you've never been introduced to any of it, definitely get into it and start looking up. I mean, there's so much content out there that you could watch going back all the way to like the beginning of the sport. So much fun. And if you can go watch a live show, whether it be a local show in your town, if it's a big show in another country, whatever, I highly recommend going in and watching it, because it's surreal. Like it is so bizarre seeing guys that are twice the size of a normal human lifting implements that seem unliftable and doing it repetitively. So it's a hell of a thing to watch. It's definitely the coolest sport out there, in my opinion. I think it's the funnest thing to do. Let's see, go back to, see if this is going to crash on me again. So yeah, watching these guys just move freaking mountains is something to behold, especially in person. On TV, it's fun to watch, but in person, hearing everyone just lose their minds is freaking rad. So yeah, that's Lucas Hatton really put in the work and like definitely wanted the win, but Evan Singleton, that dude, you could just tell came to win. He announced that he was here to win every 5 minutes, like he wasn't playing. After every event, he's like, I came to win. And I mean, did pretty well. I mean, the keg toss, he kind of screwed up the angle. But he definitely had the height. I mean, he's a tall freaking dude. He's like 6'6". Let's see, where did he go in here? Did I overlook him? What the? Come on. Trey Mitchell, Lucas Hatton, Thomas Evans. Yeah, 12th. Only 1 rep in the manhood stones. Oh, the stones were killing everybody, though. Everyone was having problems with these damn stones. I forgot he did that poorly. 204. Yeah, Max doesn't do any lifting from the ground. Bobby Thompson shocked me. By that point, Shane withdrew. The trap bar, that was awesome. I've done some shorts. I released shorts of Lucas and Evan in one video of their 514. 514 kilos is nuts to lift off the ground. And when you're as tall as Evan, like, that's a big disadvantage because that's a much higher lever. I mean, you've got to stand up 3 feet with that weight, whereas Lucas Hatton being half a foot shorter, it's not near the stretch to get there. And Lucas Hatton's freaking thighs are like this. Like, they're probably 36 inches around, easy. Maybe more. I mean, that guy's just a squat, just static monster. Austin Andrade lifting lower than Thomas Evans surprised the hell out of me, because Austin's built a lot like Lucas. And Thomas Evans is a big dude, but he's not, like, his thighs. This is all comes out of thighs. And his thighs are nothing like Andrade and Hatton. Bryce, that dude's as big as Brian Shaw, just not quite as heavy. So 457, so like, that's respectable. Trey, this one shocked me being that low. Tristan actually kind of shocked me being that high. Tom shocked me being that low. Yeah, at that point, both of these guys withdrew. The super yoke was killing guys. Only 2 of them finished it. Like, everyone else got distance. So Tristan just ran with those. And these were safes, gun safes. 2 big gun safes with a bar connecting them. And you had a light system that as soon as you started walking, it would trigger the light. And as soon as you crossed the line at the other end, it would trigger the other light to stop. And that would give you your time. So 643 kilos, I mean, it's 1,300 pounds. And let's see, traversed 6 meters. And he did it with the big one. So yeah, let's see, 6 meters. What's a meter? 3.5 feet. So it's like 25 feet. Wow, something like that. It's midnight, and I'm American, so yeah, Tristan killed it, Austin killed it, and then everyone else did not do well at all. Max barely moved with it. I mean, he didn't make it 7 feet with it. The standing chest press, if you've watched the Shaw Classic in the past, the standing chest press is a pretty sweet contraption. I don't know if I've made put a short up yet on that or not, because I've got 4 different cameras worth of video from the trip that I'm trying to pull video from and edit and do shorts and long content and everything else. But it's a big S figure that is 2 separate railings like this. Here we go, camera. So it's like this, and they separate. and they've got kegs, big beer kegs that serpentine through there, and there's 10 of them. And you stand, it's a standing chest press. You stand into it and you press out once with an empty machine, which is like 300 and something pounds. So you press out, and then when you come into the lower set of your set, of your rep, when you come down to the lower section of your rep, they release one keg, and it serpentines down through that S and lands, and then you press with another, I think it's 25 or 27 pounds per keg that you're loading. So that loads in, and then you press again, come back down, and a guy pulls a cable, and it releases another keg. And you do that through all the kegs, and the more kegs you get, the higher the weight, and your rep count goes up. So, or maybe it's 8 kegs. So you do one press, and then they drop a total of 8 kegs. And then once you max out on your 8 keg, that's your 9th press, and then any press past that is just another rep of its highest weight. So 8 kegs loaded in this frame, release one at a time with each press. Lucas Hatton, let me go back to this. Lucas Hatton is the only guy to rep all 8 kegs twice. And then Evan Singleton got through all the kegs. Thomas Evans tied him with all the kegs, which is why these are your 3 winners. Before, Thomas Evans and Brian Shaw were the first time they had this machine out, they were the only 2 guys to be able to do all 8 kegs and do a rep. Just Brian Shaw, just big, monstrous, 4-time World's Strongest Man Brian Shaw, and then Thomas Evans, a dude who is not amazing at any one thing, but is a very well-rounded athlete. And this year, you had 2 guys rep past him. So it was an explosive environment to be in, especially Lucas Hatton hitting that for another rep. Wild. Just awesome, like a static environment. Everyone losing their freaking minds. Trey Mitchell doing 8, Austin only doing 7. This surprised me. I thought Austin was going to podium this year, but I'm biased because he's from Tucson. He claims Texas at all these events, and then he claims Mexico at Worlds. Homeboy's from Tucson. His mom lives 4 or 5 minutes from me. And I talked to his mom there. I got to talk to a bunch of his family members. But Austin, I posted a video of Austin and Nick Guardione doing a intro for me. I didn't ask them to. I took them a gift. I take all these guys gifts every year, just as a thank you for all the entertainment. And I mean, it's a sport that I love. So if I can do something small to give back to the guys that inspire me, that I'm going to. And I guess it was their very first gift ever that either one of them got. And they saw that, they saw me recording, asked what was up. I told them I got a channel, and they just started shouting out my channel. So I did a short video that I threw up, but I don't think it went into shorts. I think it was just a short video that I'm going to edit down into cold opens for my videos, and I'm going to do a short and post it as a short. Sweetheart of a guy, great dude. Wrapped us up in big hugs as soon as we were like, yeah, man, we met you last year from Tucson. Came around, gave us big hugs. Andre Foitu, 7 reps. I mean, I don't know enough about what he's capable of to be surprised or not. Josh Spurgeon was surprising about this whole show. He won the Open last year, so I got his ticket. Bryce Johnson kind of surprised me because it's a big freaking dude. Tom Stoltman, pressing isn't really his thing, and he's got an injured arm, so fair enough. Tristan Hoth, I thought he'd do more because that dude's a barrel-chested beast. Eddie Williams, I mean, fair enough. Max, I knew Maxime wouldn't do any more than this. A little surprised that Wesley didn't do bigger, and really surprised that Nick didn't do bigger. But he claims he hates doing chest and he never does chest presses in training, so I guess I shouldn't be too surprised. The power stair, this is where things got wild. I did post a video about the power stair. I couldn't post a short because as I'm learning, a short will crop your video automatically. And my video being cropped means that I couldn't get both athletes in the frame, and then everyone seeing the short would miss most of what made it so spectacular. And I wasn't about doing that. So maybe I'll go through my editing bay and figure that out and then upload it as a short, because watching Evan Singleton and Lucas Hatton do their run was a thing of beauty. Like they move so damn fast, especially being, I think they're 6 inches separate in height. So seeing a guy that's, what's Evan, 6'6", 6'7", and then watching Lucas at 6 foot run with the same implements side by side. I mean, they're 15, 20 feet apart or whatever. But watching them carry the same implement, drop them, and then carry the 500-pound implements up the power stairs and be that close in time and everything was awesome. So at some point, I'd love to get that video up. Max is really fast at any loaded moving. Like, it's kind of wild. He's god-awful at deadlifts and refuses to do them, so his deadlifts always suck, which is why he'll never be on a podium again, in my opinion. Max is awesome. I've been a big fan for a long time, and he's come in third at Worlds, but I don't think he's ever going to hit a podium again because this dude just refuses to do some of the lifts that are required to win basically any elite level show. You're always going to have a deadlift or a squat. You're going to have one or the other because they are the two best full body workouts. So it's a hit or miss. You're going to have one or the other. He's okay at squats and he's god awful at deadlifts. You're never going to win something. Arnold's almost always has a squat and he does okay, but he's not top 3 material. And because he refuses to do deads, I mean, I can even go back the trap bar deadlift. Max Boudreau, 366. And the closest to him is 434. That is a huge deficit. Like, come on. You're never going to podium coming in 14th on an event. It's just not going to happen. Let's just press back to this. But when it comes to a moving, like where, let's see, max log. He did okay on max log. The carry and hoist, like, did fair here. I mean, kind of middle of the pack. And that's because the hoist, the arm over arm. So you run with a loaded frame, which no one's ever going to beat him in a frame. One dude has beat him at Arnold's with the frame. That one guy, like almost 3 times his size physically. Wide Pavlo was able to carry. It's a loaded implement. It's made out of wood. It's made out of like railroad ties. Just giant wooden frame with handles that you have to walk up a steep ramp up to a flat platform and hit the back of the platform. And it's timed. So the moment you start, you're timed. Max held the record on that and beat his own record a couple of times. And then Wide Pavlo last year, 2 years ago, I think it was last year, beat Max's record. And Max had just beat his previous record. And then that dude came in and destroyed his record. So when it comes to running with a loaded frame, Max is amazing, and he will not let go. And he's fast. But when you get to the arm over arm, so now you're pulling on a giant rope, pulling a weight up a pulley system, That's what slowed him down here. Otherwise, he'd be like up here in the top 3. But that arm over arm kills him. But then he won the keg toss. Like, Max has some serious strengths, but then you come down here and he didn't lift a stone. Like, static lifts, for some reason, it's like hit or miss on which ones he's good at. So the fact that he took 3rd at Worlds a few years ago, it baffles me, because I don't think he's ever going to do it again. But then the power stair, because it's a loaded, carried movement, fastest. Like, freaking how? Ran in head-to-head heats carrying a cross towards a set of power stairs. So 10, I don't know what 10 means. 9, because there was, you carry a cross. It was made out of oil rigging, like couplings or something. This big cross, you hug it, pick it up, run with it, drop it on a mat, and then carry I think it's a 500-pound like pump assembly from an oil rig. Everything there was like oil rig material. Carry this thing up the power stairs, and then the next one was like a 550-pound. It was like 500 and 550, or 550 and 600. These 2 implements. You pick up the implement, run up the stairs, come down the stairs, pick up the other implement, and get up. So I don't know what 10 is. You're not moving 10 implements. But he did it the fastest. And then Wes Derwinski, super fast. And then Evan Singleton came in 3rd, which is what secured his win. Had Lucas Hatton won this event, he would have won. He would have been in 1st place. So, and if he would have done better at any other event, he would have won. I mean, he lost by a point, which is close, because I think when Brian retired, 93.5 to 92.5, Thomas Evans sadly was nowhere close. And then really sad, Austin was even farther away. I mean, it's a 9-point deficit to 2nd. So I would have loved to see Austin up there. And I think I might someday. But Lucas Hatton taking 2nd doesn't surprise me. Evan Singleton taking 1st doesn't surprise me. Thomas Evans taking 3rd surprised the hell out of me. He's a very well-rounded athlete, but he's not amazing at anything. So that surprised the hell out of me. Happy for him. He's a sweetheart of a guy. But surprised. Is there a volume control on that? That's loud as hell. I don't know if that volume's coming through or not. But damn, that was loud. Well, let's see if... so there's Lucas Hatton. Oh, I haven't uploaded any of those yet. Because there's Lucas Hatton right here doing a video for me. Damn. Nope. I haven't uploaded any of those yet. See, there's the T cross. And I wish I knew how to adjust that volume. If the volume's going through. Because that's loud as hell on my end. And I'm not trying to blow up anyone's ears. I mean, I didn't want to go there. So there's Evan. Lucas on the right. So, huge height deficit. And I'm like right over here. Oh yeah, there you can actually see me right there. I'm clapping against my chest, right where his feet are. I'm like right here. Like right there. I was recording all that. So, yeah, T-Rex. There's Jerry. His arms were so tired that right here he had a hard time raising his arm with his first place trophy. It took him a minute. There's Tristan killing it. There's Trey. Big thicket out of Texas. There's Hatton and old Uncle Nick Best. So let's see. I can't control the time. So zoom back in. Yep, crowd going nuts. And come on. Yep, there I am right. I can't zoom in. That's me right there. No, let's see. That's funny. All right. See, I was right over here. I was right behind the other guy. So you have two seats on the ground, which is where I sat last year. And then I was the third row up in the actual stands. Last year I was right over here, just behind these cameramen on the ground in the second row. And these cameramen are the biggest reason I didn't buy one of those seats this year. Because those dudes are just in your way the entire time. And it really takes away from your experience. So picked one up just a little bit and I went with a corner over here this time. I've always been on this side somewhere really down low. I mean, my seats are still amazing. I'm still like right in the action. I had Brian Shaw right next to me through half of the show. Man, I wish I had uploaded some of those other photos. But yeah, so it was a Shaw Classic. Super fun. And I have not yet gone through all of my... all of my stuff. My phone is full. And that sucks because it's slowing everything down big time. So there's Big Laws. Yeah, let's go back to this camera and do this. Yeah. Big Laws, retired British strongman who has his own show that I watch every Sunday. Yeah, Devin LeRae, the best arm wrestler on the planet. Get to talk with him for a few minutes. Mount Rushmore stuff. Let's see. Picking George Washington's nose because I'm a child. I did some RCs at the Mount Rushmore. That was fun. Travis Ortmeyer, Shane Flowers, Terry Hollins, Josh Spurgeon. Yeah, fun stuff. And I got to go through all of this crap. The Eddie Hall plunger. The Eddie Hall plunger that's probably my favorite moment from the entire weekend. Getting to meet Eddie Hall again, but then having him give me a signed plunger. Can't make this shit up. And then driving through, made a bunch of thumbnails for some of my RC videos. It's like, here's my 4x4 race truck with an arch in Utah. So that'll be a fun thumbnail when I go back to doing RC stuff. I got the Creighton at Mount Rushmore with Rushmore in the background. Can't really see it, I guess, but whatever. Yeah, fun stuff. Drove all over the place. Put like 2,500 miles on my freaking truck. So, not exactly ideal. Because diesels aren't cheap, but whatever. And then the X-Max broke day one. So, very large RC truck. Not useful on my entire vacation. And my plan was to have the X-Max in all my videos. I was going to run the X-Max at the Shaw Classic because it's the biggest RC truck at the biggest strongman event, in my opinion. It's the best one. So that was broken. So I just took up a giant space in the bed of my truck the entire time. That kind of sucked. But I took other RCs, so I got to do some other fun RC content, since that's kind of what my channel's becoming, is mostly RCs. Got a broken one here I got to fix. I've already fixed 2 today. I got a whole bunch of tools and spare parts over here off to the side. I got another chassis over there. I'm looking at the X-Max over there on the ground. So earlier I went live today and was doing a rebuild on the X-Max because a ton of parts came in. Got it all fixed, was super happy, fired it up, went to drive it, and found out that I have another stripped gear because this truck has 6 differentials. Well, it's got 2 main differentials and then a bunch of other gears, and half of them are like buried in the truck, and one of them is plastic. So I've got hardened steel diffs throughout the whole truck, except for one, I guess, is plastic, and I've stripped all its teeth. So a $1,400 RC truck just sitting there. And I had some fun plans for videos with that. And then this guy, the last time I let my idiot friends run it, they broke the bulkhead, so now I got to tear it apart, swap the bulkhead out on it. My No J Simpson died on me on vacation. That's a 2-wheel drive trophy truck that I've already fixed it, but the No J, and I've got plans because I hate Fords. When I got this truck, I had a modern Bronco rally body on it, and my plan, let's see, go back to doing this. That's the thing with having so many monitors and crap. The No J, I've got a police 2-wheel drive race slash that, because I'm related to a lot of cops. I like some cops. A lot of cops are dicks. And I'm related to some of those. But I like cops, so I like support cops. So I've got a deputy's truck that I built that's got red and blues on it. I'm trying to find a siren that'll plug into it because that'd be really cool. But I've got the police truck, which I've actually done some videos chasing my friends around in their trucks. But I got the police truck, and now I've got the No J, and I had a helicopter. Don't anymore, but I'm going to get another helicopter, but I want to get one that's got a camera on it. And I'm going to do a low-speed pursuit video recreating the No J, the O.J. Simpson run. So I'm going to have someone driving the No-J real slow, and then with the police car right behind it, and then a helicopter flying right over it. So it's going to be a multi-camera video. I'm going to be the one flying the helicopter because I don't have any friends that know how to fly one. And I'm not going to trust them to not destroy my helicopter. But then I need two people that have got throttle control. And it seems like I only have one friend who's also into RCs. So he has throttle control, but I need to find someone else. So probably one of my kids, since I grew up with these. Have each of them driving real slow at the same pace while I fly over and get good video. But then I need at least one other external camera. I'll have to operate the camera from the helicopter, and then I'll also need an external cameraman. And I don't seem to have any of those that are. I need to train one of my kids to operate a camera well. So I have one kid driving one truck, probably have Butch driving the other. I'll fly the helicopter and operate its camera, and I need like one of my other kids to hold probably this camera because it's got the wide lens on it, and record the whole thing and then edit all that footage together. And if I can do it for like 10 minutes to make a really fun video, that's the plan with the No-J. And then as soon as I'm done with that, I'm probably getting rid of that stupid Ford shell and putting something good on it, like a square body Chevy or something. Which I found a few square body shells that will eventually... The X-Max will eventually get one, but it's a $150 body. And that's just stupid. And then a few of my other trucks, I plan on putting them on. And my buddy's a big Dodge guy, and he's got a big Dodge shell for one of his Slashes, so it made me kind of jealous. I need a real life to pick them up because these bodies are just nondescript trucks. So the Max. And then while I'm on vacation, because my friend cost me a lot of money, started sending me images for all the newest Traxxas stuff that's coming out. So I've already got money spent that I haven't even made yet on new trucks. So yeah, my hobby's getting kind of out of hand. So I definitely need the tax write-offs of making content with more of these because they're not free. They're not terribly expensive, but they're not freaking free. Yeah, I don't know. I originally hopped on here to start to actually work on this truck, and then figured I hadn't made a video talking about Shaw Classic yet, so kind of got into that. Yep, studio had to get a whole bunch of rework done because now I've got this giant banner, which is also autographed by Obi. And so I had to figure out a way to put that in here without cutting it, because there is actually an image under the whole thing. It's really cool. Got that from the Bunker Branding guys. So I finally got to meet them. The man who runs Bunker Branding for Demolition Ranch, since Demo Matt doesn't really have anything to do with it much anymore. But the Sanders, they've also got their own channel. So yeah, the Sanders out there in Bernie, Texas. Place that I wouldn't mind retiring to at some point. But yeah, I got to meet them. They were super cool. Really friendly. Which is cool because I watch their channel. So it was cool meeting them and seeing that they weren't like actually assholes in real life. And got an Eddie Hall plunger, which is still my favorite thing to think about. I have a plunger in my studio, and it's autographed by a World's Strongest Man. Just a weird thing to have. Weird shit happens to me, I swear. Then, I guess tomorrow I'll redo the bulkhead on this guy. As I started saying, that's why there's like stuff everywhere in here right now. Yeah, all of my idiot friends didn't grow up with RC cars and clearly should never handle a firearm, let alone a radio, because they've got zero trigger discipline. An RC car, if you've never used one, has a trigger much like a pistol, and then a wheel for steering. So go fast, brake, or go in reverse, right? I got a lot of like black background, so it's probably not easy to see. Reverse, go, and then I do a lot of one hand, so I can record doing things, and I don't have to do this because I'm not a novice to RCs, so I can steer one-handed and control the throttle. And then on my other fancier radios that have a lot more accessories on them, they've got other buttons, and I can control all that crap one-handed too. But they have no trigger discipline. So much like with a pistol, you know, keep your finger, I mean, right-handed generally, but keep your finger away unless you want to have action. Same thing. And then it's a squeeze, not a jerk, right? So I'm also a big 2A guy. Got lots of those, and eventually we'll make videos of those. But in southern Arizona, it is 12:30 at night, and it is still 92 degrees outside. So I won't be making any of those videos for a couple of months. But I do have a few videos in mind. A lot of them involve 50 cals, so stay tuned. But finger out of the trigger well until you're ready for action, and then squeeze the trigger. Don't just, you know, freaking just go crazy with your booger hooker, you know, like, but ease into it. Especially almost all of my RCs, except the small ones, and even some of the small ones, will do 60 miles an hour. Like this, once I take all the freaking aluminum off of it, which keeps causing all these breakages, that's a 65 mile an hour truck. The X-Max, 65 mile an hour truck. So you don't just 65 miles an hour on something you don't know how to control. You ease into it. And I asked all my friends, so Father's Day, I get all my friends to come over, and I do a big thing here. Feed all my friends, hanging out, and we were supposed to make videos, and that didn't happen, but we did go out and play with RCs. So I had a bunch of my friends come out and play with RCs. My kids, myself, and my buddy Butch, who's been on one of these videos. He's a very large human. Butch, very good with RCs. He's actually kind of autistic about it. The dude knows things. We're mutually feeding into each other's addictions. I'm kind of the reason he started doing them. He already liked RCs, but he's over around me all the time. I've got a lot of them, so he started buying them. And now he still doesn't own as many as me, but he's caused me to buy more. He's the reason I bought this. I drove 3 hours to buy 2 of this exact truck because he found it. He really wanted one, and I had the day off. So I drove to the far side of Phoenix to pick up 2 of these from a guy. And the same day I came back with this, he went and picked up the X-Max for me, the $200 X-Max. And he found me my Mini Max, so I have all 3 sizes. He's the reason I have the Creighton. He's the reason I have the E-Revo. He finds these things, he spends money on them, and goes, "Hey, Randy, I know how badly you want this. I'll sell it to you for what I've got for you." Know, so he's not making money off of me, but he's costing me money. So he's good with these, and he has the exact same, the twin truck to this. So we're outside, and I have the X-Max. So I go to one of my friends. I go to a couple of my friends. "Hey, who has trigger discipline?" And one of them goes, "Nah, not at all." And my other buddy goes, "I kind of do." I said, "Okay, well, you've run these with me before. Remember, ease. You don't have to just jam it. You're not 3 years old. You don't just do like this and then hope it does, and then do this and hope it turns. You turn it and you ease into you don't just hop into your freaking truck and just mash your fucking foot to the floor." So apparently, while I wasn't paying attention, because I'm kind of overseeing everyone playing with RC cars, I had like 9 RC cars out for all these different people, and then Butch had his own. At one point, someone ran this into something hard at least once, probably a couple of times. And I was complaining about this in my earlier video. All that blue is very pretty. Mostly, I mean, I've scratched the hell out of a lot of it. But it used to be very pretty blue aluminum. And that's a couple $100 worth of blue aluminum. The problem is aluminum doesn't flex. It'll bend and it'll break, but it will not flex. So what happens, and inside the wheel, you see these giant chunks of blue. So those are wheel hubs. The wheel hubs are very important to have as aluminum, and all 4 wheel hubs are on here, and it's all TRX aluminum, so it's all really expensive Traxxas brand stuff. It's name brand. It's like owning a fucking Harley. They're expensive because of the name. So it's awesome, and I was super stoked when I first got this truck because of all the matching blue aluminum, blue shocks, blue double wishbone all the way around, blue knuckles, blue locking hubs, like on a blue and gray body. Like, I was really excited with all the blue. And this is now the 3rd bulkhead I will have to replace because of all of this pretty blue aluminum. When you have this much aluminum and no flex, when you have an impact at all that energy has to go somewhere. Well, it's not going to break the thing that's unbreakable when it's attached to hardened plastic. So down in here, I don't know if you can really see down in there, is the main bulkhead of the truck. It has a front bulkhead and a rear bulkhead. It's where all your gears are mounted in there. It's kind of holding all of the moving pieces in place. It's 2 pieces, upper and lower. And then you have one in the front, one in the back. Well, when you hit real hard into something, or roll really hard, but mostly just any kind of hard impact at weird angles, you're going to torque on these arms. So you got applied pressure twisting like this against something that isn't meant to twist like that, and something's got to give. That energy has to go somewhere, and it goes into the bulkhead, which is hard plastic with giant steel pins going through it, and it twists and then breaks the bulkhead. And then you have to rip out the entire front end of this truck, tear the whole thing down to replace the bulkhead. So I cannot wait to order plastic double wishbones. I will leave the aluminum knuckles in here because the aluminum knuckles, being aluminum, is actually going to save me a lot of headaches. And having plastic arms will allow for flex and movement, because that plastic, the hard ABS will flex and always return to position or break. It's one or the other. You've got a lot of flex point before anything breaks. So I need to rip all this aluminum off. I'm going to wide it. I'm going to do a wide max kit on it so I gain a couple inches worth of like controllability, because these things, and I'm going to lose a lot of weight. This thing's fucking heavy. That's probably 20 pounds worth of RC truck, which doesn't sound like a lot when you're carrying groceries, but when you're trying to power it and make it move, I can shed a couple of pounds of aluminum, which is going to equal speed, but it will also be more durable because everything will flex. But the knuckles, you want all your knuckles to be aluminum, because then if you impact a tire like that, you can shear a knuckle, which is what happened to the NoJ. It's why it was broken down. And I replaced it with aluminums that I had laying around. And now that won't happen because everything else will flex and not break. And that was the weakest point. So it's annoying as hell when things don't work out the way you want them to, and when other people break your shit. And none of it's expensive. Like, there's only like $10, but it's like an hour and a half worth of work to rip all this crap off and replace it. And when you've already done it twice, you really don't want to have to do it a third time. So I got to do this and then be gentle with the truck until I can meet up with Butch. He actually has a wide max kit that we're going to trade across, and they're plastic. So that will give me my extra stability and width and reduce weight and reduce busting all my damn bulkheads. So, yeah, at some point, I guess tomorrow, I'll replace the bulkhead in that so that can be back on the road, because that is one of my favorite trucks. Which is a dangerous thing to say, because I say it probably about every freaking truck I own. And I own 20, 23. I don't know. It's hard to count. It's dangerous to count. I own a lot of them. It's definitely one of the hobbies that I got a little aggressive with and went all in on. And I still buy more. There's like 3 more I plan on buying in the next month or so. And then every time Butch has one that he decides he doesn't want anymore, somehow I'm the sucker who ends up buying it. It's not entirely true. He sold like 3 or 4 that I didn't buy, mostly because I already had one, so I didn't need another. But whatever. Anyways, I've gone on for a while. 1 year that I've had this channel. Thank you all for watching this. Thank you for subscribing, even if you don't watch. Just happy to have subs. And I'm happy to finally have over 50 so I can do these lives. So I'll start doing more lives now. I doubt anyone's going to watch this. I'm already at... Damn, I got a heat warning? Stupid. Tomorrow's probably going to be like stupid hot. So anyways, I'm already at 2 hours. I don't expect anyone to watch this entire thing. Most of it's just me rambling about whatever nonsense came to mind, because I'm alone and no one's in the chat. But I'm half crazy anyway. I can talk to myself all day. So yeah, I'm going to start doing more lives now that I can, as long as I don't start losing subs, which I have done. I think I lost some subs after I had my buddy on here who went kind of crazy and doesn't understand not to cuss. Like, come on, man. We all cuss. I cuss a lot. Turn the camera on and I try to keep that minimalized. But I think I lost 2 subs with that dude going crazy with his potty mouth. Which I don't personally care about, but apparently other people have feelings or whatever. So yeah, I'll start going live, doing more RC stuff, especially when Butch and I are tearing apart trucks, or when he's talking about trucks, or when we're out actually running them. I'll do live, which will save me the hassle of trying to set up a GoPro or set up my big camera and get any kind of footage and then edit the footage. I hate editing. I have about a day's worth of editing ahead of me, and I'm delaying. I've been home for a day and a half now, and I have put off all of it. I've uploaded all the shorts that I could quickly upload, and then I have not edited anything. I have slowly been moving videos, which is what... Oh, it went away. Which is what I was looking at earlier. Like, I slowly started moving things over so that I could start putting them in my editing bay and eventually start tying it all together. So I got a cool Mount Rushmore video that I will be putting out at some point, maybe this weekend, kind of depends. I got this truck to fix. I don't think I'll be fixing the X-Max again this weekend, but I got the Max to fix. I need to make sure the Haas is good because I haven't run that in a while and I kind of want to. And then I've got all these videos to upload. I've got a few more videos on the GoPro I need to pull, but I think generally I've got all those. I think I uploaded from my GoPro, which is right here, still hooked up to my computer. I think I pulled 35 different videos to the computer. So now I got to edit, I think, 12 of those together, maybe more than 12. I got to edit those together for the Mount Rushmore video, and then I've got to like trim the fat out of each individual video to splice them together to make one video. But it's really cool. I've never been to Mount Rushmore. I always wanted to, and I figured I was only 4.5 hours away every year that I go to Loveland, so I figured screw it. Finally went. But they've got a really cool ceremony where They got a big amphitheater. You can walk up, you can walk through the row of flags, which I took some really cool pictures because I claimed 2 states as my own, Arizona and Texas. I took some cool pictures at each of their plaques. And then when you go through and you can see Mount Rushmore up there, it's awesome. Take all your photos. And then you keep walking to the very edge, and there's a pit with an amphitheater down below at the base of the mountain. It's really cool. So I went and checked that out. And then where you're at, standing on top, looking out at the mountain, you're actually standing on top of like a museum. So then I did a whole walk through the museum, checking out all the plaques and all the pictures and all the, like, they've got sweaters and a baseball and a like cribbage board. So I got all this fun trivia and stuff in there. I recorded all of that. And then there's a bunch of old equipment, like old hoists and everything. That was really fun to look at. And you got the old school T-handle plunger for explosives that you get to crank down on. And I like my internal Snidely Whiplash mustachioed, I got a woman tied to train tracks kind of came out. So I pushed down the plunger a couple of times. But anyways, I recorded all of that in there because I thought it was really cool. But then I wound up hearing someone else talk about a show. So I was like, well, I'm definitely staying for that. So you go down, as the sun starts going down, you go down and they put on this whole big show. And they reveal this screen and they project like a story about each one of the presidents that's up there and like why they were picked to be the president that they picked. And then they start playing the national anthem. And as the national anthem is playing, like it's clearly all timed for the sunset, which I had a feeling it would be because I know that at night it's lit. So I knew at some point it would be lit. So I'm recording that entire show. And then at a certain point in the national anthem, it gets lit. And that's really cool. And then as it gets darker, Mount Rushmore actually looks bigger and closer. So I got some really cool pictures with that, which I'll edit into the video. And then because I, again, am a child and I like remote control cars, I had RC cars with me. So I used one of my big RCs in the parking lot where you're still underneath Mount Rushmore. So I've got some fun videos. I uploaded a couple of shorts. I did more video than that, so I'll probably edit all that stuff together and put out what'll probably be like a 5 or so minute video of running RCs in the parking lot under Mount Rushmore. It's the backdrop the whole time. But then I took a small RC with me that does about 35 miles an hour, but it's only like this big. And I actually went up onto the walkway where the flags are, like the Walk of Flags, Hall of Flags, Court of Flags. I know that everything there's got like a fancy title where I don't remember if I have any pictures of that in here. No, that's Eddie Hall. Would have been after that. What is this flag place called? My favorite thing to do is be grumpy at national monuments. So, like, make sure I've got it so I can actually see that. Nope. Display. There we go. So my favorite thing to do is to be grumpy. Take a grumpy photo at national monuments. So that wall of flags, it's a whole, like, walkway that's, I don't know, 150 yards or so. Oh, it's not real well. Eventually it'll be on a video. Might even make it a thumbnail. But I did a video of running. I think I've already uploaded that one as a short. I think I edited those together and uploaded it already. I don't know. I have to check my shorts. But it drove the RC, and there's big signs everywhere saying no drones, no like RC aerial vehicles. So I read between the lines when I can, pretty much always. And I was like, well, it doesn't say anything about RC cars. It just says no like drones or remote control aircraft, like unmanned aircraft. Well, there's a car. And as long as I'm not hitting a jump, it's never airborne. So I went out there after things started kind of weeding out. There were still some people there, and no one complained and no one told the fuzz because there were cops all over the place. So I was afraid one of the cops would come over and like yelled at me or something. But I posted up the car, and then I ran it around up there for a couple of minutes. I actually had a couple of people come walking by and they're like, dude, you run an RC here? That's so awesome. Like, everyone who said anything to me about it really thought it was fun. But then there were other people that didn't say anything, so I don't know what their opinions were, and I don't really care. But the cops never came and bothered me, so it's all good. Like, they didn't. I was afraid they'd like commandeer my RC or something. $200 freaking car. I don't need you taking my stuff. But yeah, so I did that, and that was definitely fun. Went to Moab, and I don't remember. I know I wanted to go back to the Arches, but I also just wanted to come home, so I didn't go back to the Arch because the Arches is like a thing. I grew up going there, so I like to go there every chance I get, and like that's a drive to get in there. And I drove right past the entrance, but from the entrance, if you've never been to the Arches in Utah, in Moab, it's like a 15-20 minute drive through to get back to where the arches are. And then every arch is like very spread out. So some of the big arches are like hell and gone. And once you get to like where you're parking, there's only a couple of them that you can see that are like a short hike. It's kind of like a day trip. You need to spend a whole day there. And even then you might not see all of the arches. So if you can, go to Arches and camp there. I've never camped there. I want to, but I've done a few day trips there. Like as a kid, my dad used to take us all the time because we'd winter in Colorado, which is where Denver stuff. So we'd go there a lot in the winter. Pretty much every winter, we'd hit up like Four Corners and the Arches. So yeah, I really wanted to go into Moab to where like some of the dunes are and rip some RCs. But again, it just came down to time. I just kind of ran out of energy. I didn't want to do it anymore. I just wanted to come home. Doing stuff for like 5 days, 6 days. I think we were gone for 7. So I was doing stuff for 6 days. And after a while, I was like, I'm done. And I do all the driving. She does all the sleeping. So she slept pretty much the entire time I drove, which was peaceful, but kind of boring. So yeah, she's never going to watch 2 hours and 20 minutes of this. She doesn't listen to me for 2 hours and 20 minutes. So yeah, it was boring as shit having a co-pilot that slept the entire trip. So I did as many fun things as I could until I just kind of ran out of energy. And then I was like, all right, I just want to come straight home. So hauled ass home from my uncle's house in northern Colorado. Drove straight through Utah. Did a little diverting to get some fun pictures and see some things I wanted to see. And then otherwise just drove straight home. So I got home at like midnight the other night. But yeah, Utah Arches, the Arches are freaking awesome. And if you like hiking and being outdoors and seeing awesome shit, it's a great place to go. I love all of those things. Last year, I hiked a lot of it on my own. But yeah, some of these arches, like they are a hike. And last year I was still like training and being heavy. So I was 275 pounds last year when we went, and my cardio was for shit because being that big, your cardio is for shit, when you're not meant to be this heavy. So I'm only like 230 now. So my cardio is a lot better, but last year there's one arch that is a hell of a hike, and it is steep, like steep. By the time I got to the top, I thought I was gonna have a heart attack. Like halfway through, I actually had to stop walking and just try to breathe. Plus plus it was like 95 degrees, so it was also really hot. But like I could not breathe at all, and then caught my breath, finished the hike, died, and then still had to zoom in on my like my DSLR with a lens. I had to zoom in to get a really good picture of that arch because that arch was still far away and I was gassed. And I don't think I went a mile, but that steep ass incline, zigzag incline up that path to get up just to the oversight, I was like, I'm done. I'm gassed. So definitely want to go if you've got good cardio. So like this year I could have done it without dying. But yeah, half those arches are like far. You have to hike in. Some of them are pretty close. You can get out of your truck, hike, I don't know, an eighth of a mile through like really easy terrain and get some really good shots. But yeah, camping out there would be awesome. Someday I will do it. Let's see, arches, Moab would be fun. I'd like to go in there and like hit some of the trails and actually four wheel through some of there. But gas is not cheap, and my big 4x4 would cost me an arm and a leg to get to Moab. So not doing that. Supercharged 454 gets god awful gas mileage, like 8 to 10 miles a gallon if you drive like a normal human. So yeah, checked out a little bit of Moab again this year. Not enough. Wyoming's cool, but I would never, ever fucking live there. It's very flat and boring. Like the boring parts of Texas where there's just fucking fields and nothing else to look at. That's not for me. Give me some views. So Wyoming was like cool or whatever, but not for me. South Dakota was cool as shit. At least the part I went into. I don't know enough about the state, so I wouldn't live there. Colorado's awesome. Go to the Rocky Mountains. Yeah, get out and touch grass. Get out and do cool shit. Anyways, I'm getting tired and rambling. So yeah, I'll do more RCs. I'll probably go live again tomorrow, repairing this and maybe even driving them. So yeah, it's been a year. Thanks for a year. Thanks for subbing. Thanks for hanging out. Nothing in chat. Yeah, thanks for hanging out. I think I'll close down some of this crap. And I think I'm going to go to bed now because it's 1 a.m. So thanks for hanging out. I'm Randy. I'll be back at some point. I'll definitely be back on here tomorrow because I got shit else to do. So thanks for hanging out. Tucson, Arizona. I'm Randy. Goodbye.